So I originally had a spoiler-free quickie recorded a few days after the Steven Universe movie premiered, though I felt that the recording wasn't very good and it wouldn't have been very fun if I severely limited all my talking points by keeping it spoiler-free, so I'm making up for my lack of uploads with an actual scripted review of the film. And thank God too, because the other video was becoming a bit more negative, and I'm not sure I want to be known as another cartoon reviewer with a sandy butthole and hates everything. I'm gonna put that on the back burner for now to discuss not only the Steven Universe movie, but also briefly cover about how I feel about animated films of 2019 so far. Let's not lie to ourselves, this year has been extremely lackluster for animated films. I won't spoil my thoughts on all the big names that were released this year, but I'll just say that there were only about 2 films that I enjoyed. One of them was very surprising on how it was handled, and the other one was just better than the cookie cutter bullshit that you'd expect from an animated film at this point. I'm not shocked, I guess. These last few years have been pretty slow with a few films that really break the mold, but I just wasn't really expecting this year to be so much more stagnant, which is why I'm so thrilled to say that Steven Universe actually pulled through for us. This movie is a breath of fresh air when compared to all the other films I've seen this year. Animated, I mean. It not only stands out among these animated films, but it also delivers on everything that disappointed me about the last half of the television show. I'll start with the characters, because that really is the centerpiece of the show. I like where they're at the beginning of the movie. Peace is established across the galaxy, the reverted corrupted gems are living on their own established town next to Beach City, and Steven finally feels he's earned a chance at a peaceful life. In fact, Steven in this film is really great. His whole character arc in this film is practically identical to the original show, inheriting the consequences of his mother's actions at the hands of a gem she had wronged or angered, and wants to kill him. However, this time around, the threats of every villain we've seen come full circle in the form of Spinel, who is prepared to destroy the Earth with a giant poison injector and lash her anger out against Pink Diamond by taking it out on Steven. Thanks to Spinel attacking the gems with her Rejuvenator, Steven loses control of his powers, while Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst are effectively given a factory reset, along with Spinel, who was given the same treatment when Steven decides he's had enough of this bullshit. Now, I originally had an issue with this plot point because I felt like we're just retreading old ground that was well established and resolved. The first half of this film really is just everyone realizing that they did in fact have character development and making sure that we damn well remember it. Though I think this writing point does lend itself amazingly well to how the film is structured. Musicals are not only the best place to explore a character's emotion and strife out loud, but the good musical numbers express the emotion beautifully, especially since we already know their character arcs. Not only that, but these scenes show just how much Steven has matured as well. Now the gems rely on him instead of having to be the ones to save him all the time. And he understands them far more than when he did as a child, and they all return to normal after he demonstrates this to them. It all comes full circle when his powers return, after acknowledging just how much he's changed and how much he has the power to change. Even if he doesn't have his happily ever after, he realizes just how far he's come, and I love that about Steven.
All this happily ever after stuff has made me forget the first power I ever had. The power to change!
So the core cast is still great, and yeah, that's kinda to be expected, though Spinel really stole the show. She quickly became a fan favorite, and for a damn good reason. For one, I love the Cuphead Rising Revengence aesthetic. Rubber Hose animation has always been a fun art style, especially when it's being portrayed in this creepy Harley Quinn-esque lunatic way. But the voice acting too is just amazing. I can't even begin to gush about Sarah Styles and just how much personality she radiates onto this performance, whether she's being just this chaotic, creepy girl or a really bubbly and energetic, fun character.
Where Pink Diamond spends the rest of her days on this nowhere planet with a bunch of nobody.
I also like the dynamic of her character because it's really easy to understand where she's coming from. Hell, it's downright depressing how much I can relate to her. Someone who feels betrayed and abandoned, who feels the need to lash out even though they don't fully understand exactly why they're doing it in the first place. While I did just describe why I like the acting for Spinel, she really does shine when she's pushed to her breaking point, where she just eventually realizes what she's doing and how conflicted she is overall. It's believable and downright heartbreaking, and it's definitely one of the better sad performances I've seen in anything regarding Steven Universe.
I'm supposed to be a friend. I just want to be a friend.
And yeah, I love Spinel overall. She does a better job at being a villain than the Diamonds. She makes up for some of the disappointment that I had with the ending of the last season, and just the emotion and everything is so much more believable than, say, some of the other villains you might have seen. Now, the movie is very character-driven, as it should be, though I will say that this movie's biggest flaw is just how certain plot threads are handled, and to be fair, this has always been a bit of a problem with Steven Universe. Conflicts aren't resolved properly or even given proper explanations. Like, how did Spinel manage to get this rejuvenator and giant poison drill that kills planets? This girl had been spending thousands of years sitting in a garden and waltzed out and just stole this equipment all willy-nilly, and you'd also think that the Diamonds or someone else would have noticed that she stole a giant planet-destroying weapon, especially when they meet Spinel on planet Earth and realize that it's being slowly destroyed. But I guess that's just brushed off to the wayside. Spinel wants to go sand-sog on the planet, but the Diamonds just want to shower her with love and affection, so I guess that's all fine and dandy. Also, how the fuck did the poison just go away? An entire injector cream pies the Earth with death juice, and all the movie has to offer as a plausible explanation is Steven kissing the ground and then some flowers just happen to fucking grow. I don't know if this is the actual reason, because like I said earlier, Steven Universe is just awful at conflict resolution, and this is working off of Lion King logic at this point. Either God just decided that he didn't want the Earth to be destroyed, or Steven is just really good at oral. Though that definitely isn't the main focus of the show. It's a musical at the end of the day, and let's talk about that. The music itself is a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the songs are just there and do their job okay. Some songs are just kind of bland. I don't think there are any really bad songs, honestly. They're just some that I'm not overly impressed by. But the songs that I did mention earlier regarding character expression with Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst are still really good, namely because some of them are pulled off in styles that deviate from the Steven Universe norm. You got the Greg guitar style piece that's always nice, you got the Steven Amethyst duet that gives off a really nice old school musical vibe, and I'm just a sucker for that kind of shit. Spinel's song is just unlike anything the show has ever done. It's very chaotic and vibrant by its standards. When these songs are good, they're damn good, on par and sometimes better than some of the best that the show had to offer. Honestly, that's really all I have to say. This is a pretty straightforward movie to discuss, but that's not a bad thing. It is a film that suffers from having a questionable narrative that isn't backed up with proper explanation, and believe me, I do dock points for that. But as a musical, it does a great job handling these characters that I love. Steven is better than ever, and Spinel is a great character too. Really, this whole show is tied together by having such memorable characters. Even if the story isn't great, the emotion in the characters stands out more than any of the other animated films from this year, and that alone is worth commending. If you're a Steven Universe fan, there's a lot you can get out of this, and I highly recommend it. I'll go more in depth on these animated films toward the end of the year, because I'm going to have a big video about that for maybe late December, I think. Aside from that, follow me on some of my other projects that I'm going to do. We're going to keep talking about the adult cartoons. We're going to talk about some bad animated films. We're just going to go through pretty much anything animated. I've got a lot of projects. I'm always taking requests, and, well, I hope you guys stick around. Thanks for joining me.